mode.
Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the second webinar of the BonsAPPs project. Let's wait 1 minute more to more people to join. And yeah, thank you for your time and interest this Friday afternoon. I hope you still have the power to listen and to get engaged. Let's wait 1 minute more. And I will start the introduction then. Okay, I think we can start then. I see we're 25 attendees and the rest will join in a minute. So first, to start from the introduction, as you know, it's our second webinar that aims to promote the open call, so the funding opportunity that is open now until 2nd November for the AI talents. And today's special is concentrated on the Bonseyes Marketplace, which is the AI as a service for deep edge platform developed under the project. And today our main guest and our main presenter is Miguel de Prado, the senior researcher in BonsAPPs and Starway consortiums. And Miguel will present today the Bonseyes Marketplace, and after his presentation I'll give you a short overview about the first open call in case you didn't have a chance to join our first webinar. And then at the end, we'll have 15 minutes for your questions and answers. And for that, in order to ask questions, we kindly ask you to include them in the chat box. Okay, and at the end of the webinar, we'll have the special session when I will read them out loud, and we will try to answer them as best as we can. So with this small introduction, I pass the voice to Miguel to introduce you the Bonseyes Marketplace. Miguel, up to you.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to introduce the Bonseyes Marketplace. I would like to show you a bit the details that we have already included in this marketplace and an overview of the features that we will also have in the future. So this is the outline. I will start with an introduction of artificial intelligence and deep learning and why we want to do the things that we do in BonsAPPs. Then I will speak about the marketplace, and then here we have several different points that we will address, like AI research, AI assets, deep learning inference engine, and the developers platforms. So artificial intelligence has been improving a lot over the last years, especially with the appearance of deep learning, even surpassing human capability. And this has been mainly due to three key drivers: the decades of growth in computing performance, the availability of large data sets upon which we can train our algorithms, and also the advances in deep learning techniques and tools. We see key emerging applications such as automotive, healthcare, finance, telecommunications, security, or robotics that with adoption of deep learning can bring a new technological revolution. However, up to now, the use of deep learning on the edge was mainly pushing the data to the cloud. However, cloud computing is energy expensive, long latency, and reliable transmission of data, because we don't really know what's going on with the data that we push to the cloud. What we want to solve in this project is this data issue, and to do so, what we propose is edge computing. We want to process the data directly on the device, which is much more energy efficient, real-time, and secure. So we want to do this transition or this shift from the cloud to the edge. We can see here the scale, and as we go down from these cloud environments where we have Google, Facebook, and Baidu, we are going to decrease the power consumption and the latency, but however, we increase the complexity and the cost. And the reason of this is that neural networks, when they are executed, they require a lot of computation and memory to run. And these devices usually, when we go down through the network devices and sensors, don't contain that much memory and power and computational power to be able to run these algorithms. And also, as we go down, these devices become more heterogeneous. It means that they are different in nature. Some of them have CPU, others have GPU, or even down here we have microcontrollers. So here's where Bonseyes or BonsAPPs comes in, and is to provide efficient tools and means to be able to develop these algorithms on the small power devices. So what is BonsAPPs? So BonsAPPs is a service layer that is a continuation of the previous Bonseyes project, and it offers this module of services like experimentation, model compression, optimization, benchmarking on deployment hardware and security. So by providing these services, we want people to replicate, experiment their own models and be able to deploy easily on their devices. And how can we do this? How we can actually create this community that the people are allowed or are able actually to deploy neural networks or AI on their devices? We want to do that by collaboration between different actors that are involved in this chain. So we want to connect the AI researchers in the domain with the corporates and SMEs and the startups. As I said, we have like data, we need a lot of data to train the models, the knowledge and the expertise to train those algorithms, and finally deployment tools. So by collaborating between different actors in the European Union, we want to provide 4 verticals for AI solutions. And these are healthcare, automotive, manufacturing, and robotics. And this is going to happen in a decentralized way by accessing the marketplace. So here in this slide, I would like to show a bit more how this is going to be, done. And basically, we have this workflow where we start by an innovator. So an innovator from a company, for example, that would like to create a new product with AI capabilities. So in this case, it's going to create a challenge. And this challenge is basically a description of what it wants to achieve. Basically, for example, an application of object detection or animal detection. It wants to detect between cats and dogs on the street. So basically, it needs to write down the specifications of this challenge, where it's going to be deployed, for example, in a Raspberry Pi, how fast it needs to be, what's the maximum power consumption, etc. So all the description comes into the AI challenge. And then this is pushed to the marketplace. And if any of the data scientists that are also in the marketplace like this challenge and they are up for solving it, then they can take it up and try to train a model. The training of the model is going to happen inside an AI asset. An AI asset I will explain a bit later, but it's sort of a container where we want to experiment with AI tools. So they train the model, they also deploy it on a normal platform and get the metrics. And if they think that they already meet the specifications, they can publish this to the Bonseyes Marketplace so that we have a new AI asset. The next step would be the developer. So the developer is in charge not so much of training, but rather than optimizing the model that was trained before by the data scientists in a way that can be deployed on low power embedded devices. So it's going to create efficient code that we call AI application. This AI application again could be pushed to the Bonseyes Marketplace, so it's also available for other people. And finally, we have the integrator. So the integrator is going to come into the marketplace and see different AI applications, and it's going to try and create a more complex system. For example, an in-cabin driver monitoring system, where the system is to detect if the driver is looking at on the road, or if he's got the hands on the wheel, if he or she is eating, things like this. So there are several applications that will run at the same time that need to talk to each other. A more complex device, a more complex system from the several applications. So this tool chain here, it can go horizontal or it can go vertical. So you come to the marketplace and pick one, or you just talk to other people and try to solve together this whole chain. In this case, I was explaining the tool chain or the chain, from an innovator to an integrator. But here we have a different use case. We would also like to reuse sort of the research that is done in academia by researchers, because many times these researchers write papers that then they are put into a box and they are not used any longer. So what we would like to do is to take the research, the papers, algorithms, and pre-trained models, and put them into an AI asset so that we can make something meaningful out of it. So the idea is that we put this research, we collect the data, we train the model, optimize, and benchmark it. And if it works out of the box, good enough. If not, we need to go backwards. So usually this process involves several iterations till we meet the specifications. And the important key about this experimentation and then industrialization is that we put clear barriers or clear interfaces between the different blocks so we can run smoothly from one end to the other. So this is also some things that I will show later that they are already provided by the Bonseyes Marketplace. So this is the actual state of the marketplace. So we have already a few challenges that they will be already taken by in the open calls by some AI talents, and they are about automotive, healthcare, manufacturing, and robotics. We also have AI research, where we have already links to many papers, already also data sets and code. We have a few platforms where we can deploy on, for example, ARM, Intel, NVIDIA, or Renesas. We have quite a few applications that can be subdivided into detection, classification, recognition, and authentication. And finally, we also have a few solutions, as the one I explained before about the driver monitoring system. So now I would like to explain a little bit about the AI research, but for that, I would like to actually show you the Bonseyes Marketplace in real life. Are you able to see my screen now on the marketplace?
Yes.
Thank you. So this is the landing page of the Bonseyes Marketplace. So this is my profile. So here we have my dashboard. I have my account where I see, well, you can see who am I and also what's my position. I need to fill out this company information, but basically this is my profile. This is also some billing information if you want to buy products or sell them. And also you can also link your GitLab account into it. And here we can see also the research that I've been looking. For example, I bookmarked this deep residual learning for image recognition. And here basically I can click and it explains a little bit what this research work is about. So for example, it's about the neural network architecture. And here you can see different implementations that people did about these papers. And I could go then click and see all those implementations. I can also see the challenges that I have joined. No one yet. But in the future, if I join a challenge, that will be published there. And also if it's me who's publishing the challenge, then you will see that there as well. Also, you have the purchased tab where you can see the AI apps and platforms that you have purchased or also published. And that would be all basically for the dashboard. Now maybe we can see the challenges that are already available in the marketplace. They can be subdivided into these different categories, but you can also see them down here. For example, we have keyword spotting, gaze detection, collision avoidance, heart rate monitoring, and these ones are already published for the open calls. And if I click in, then we can see the description of this keyword spotting. So it's a natural language processing task for robotics. Basically, you have the description. So the goal of this challenge is to recognize keywords like stop, start, yes, no, from a speech signal that can be used to interact with a robot for simple direct question and answering. So here you have the overview of this challenge. What's it about, what it needs to answer, the expected results, and some reference. Also some toolings and some papers that the challenge was based on. And also you have some more technical details on how to solve it. So here are the specifications that the data scientists will follow and try to solve. So for example, here we can see the evaluation procedure. So we need to be 90% accurate on the data set that we provide for this challenge. and it should run under 30 milliseconds on the Raspberry Pi 4. And for example, if we go to this other one here, avoidance collisions, so it would be sort of the same, but a different use case. So it's a natural problem in mobile robotics that navigate through environments with static and dynamic elements. Basically, the robot needs to detect if there is an obstacle and then avoid it with visual cues. So this is a bit the overview of the challenges. And the AI talents that apply for the open calls would be able to join these challenges and solve. We also have other verticals like the AI Marketplace and the developer community. If we go to the AI Marketplace, here we have AI applications. At the moment, we have not yet pushed any of them, but they are ready. We just need to create the backend and the storage support to push them. But basically, it will be divided into these sections. We also have platforms, like I said, is embedded devices, server, mobile, or desktop. And we have solutions, for example, for automotive, healthcare, manufacturing, robotics. We can see, for example, this occupant detection solution. So it's about detect human, gender, age, animal, child, and empty seats. So basically in this demo here, you can see that there's some people in a car, and then this algorithm is detecting if they are present, if they are sitting in the driver position or an occupant, a passenger. They're also identifying the age and the gender, so they can also try to modify the car in their wishes. And basically, this is the system that it was deployed. So basically, as it is an AI solution, as I said before, it is composed of several applications, AI applications like face, body pose, gender, age, cat and dog. And basically, it takes a camera as an input and then processes these images, and then finally outputs sort of this is the output, the overlay of the detections. Now we can go to the developer community, and here we have research, datasets, and the community. So if we go to research, then we can look around for different tasks, for example, like image classification, semantic segmentation, object detection, and that would be for the computer vision. We also have natural language processing for other tasks like sentiment analysis, question answering, and other miscellaneous like variable pose estimation, image generation, etc. So for example, if we go to this semantic segmentation, we can see the data sets that are published for this task and how many papers or works are actually available for that data set. We could see them all. And here we have a leaderboard to show the different papers, how they're classified based on the mean EUR. So basically it's the accuracy for this task. And we can see over the years how it's increasing. We can find which work or what paper is the state of the art at the moment. We also have other metrics that we can select. And basically here we have the table that shows those metrics. If we go down here, also we have another table. So this is the works, for example, that I bookmarked. And basically it says, it points you to the code where we can find this work, also the paper. And if we open this tab, we can see a description of this work and also the different implementations and some information about them. You can see the framework where it was developed, if it is compatible with Colab, with Docker, and or Nix. So here we can see that some of them are, some of them are not. For example, this one here is compatible with Docker and it provides an ONNX model. Also, we would like to add in the future this one here, which is LPDNN, which is our own inference engine. So we want to automate the process, so we check if all these works are compatible with our own inference engine, and we can directly deploy it on our platforms. So I think this is all for the research. Now we can see the data sets. So here we can see different data sets that we have, like ImageNet, Cypher10, Coco. So basically, it points you to the description of this data set, what it does, and also to the source of the data set. We do not contain a data set ourselves. So basically, because sometimes you need to have some kind of license to download it or sign up a sort of a contract or a small license. So basically what we do is to put the source of the data set, and then you can go there and download it. We also have community. So the idea is that people start interacting between them and create solutions or collaborate to create some new applications, for example. So here we have two different kinds. We have the profile, so it's people that naturally comes and sign up. You can see the people that are at the moment available here, which is mostly internal people from the project, and also organizations. We can see here the organization about the Bonseyes. I hope in the future there will be more as people and the other organizations come and see the marketplace and start playing with it. And also we have documentations that they will be uploaded during the next months to be able to support all the users that come and want to try this. So basically this is the demo I wanted to do about the marketplace. Now I can continue a bit more with the presentation. I would like to talk a bit more about the AI assets now. So AI assets, as I think I explained before shortly, is sort of a container where we can experiment and deploy easily on an embedded device. So it basically enables accelerated deployment of deep learning models, and it's composed of easy to deploy building blocks like training, optimization, benchmarking, evaluation, and deployment, that we want to put them together into the same environment so people can go from end to end and try neural network on their devices. It provides all the dependencies and tooling and the standardization so that it runs smooth and people don't need to worry about the different stages. And basically, it's also connected to, or will be connected to, the marketplace, so you can go to the marketplace, download an example, and if you would like to create your own one, you can also do. This is the AI asset container. So, okay. So here you can see the different tools or tasks that we do inside the container. We can do train of algorithms. For example, we can train different backbones on the same application. We can choose to a different data set. We can do several things. We can also compress the model and quantize it to integer 8. We can do this through quantization over training or post-training quantization. At the moment, we only have post-training quantization, but the other one, quantization over training, it will be pushed in the coming months. Once we have the models, we can also export them to ONNX or also TensorRT. And basically, we can deploy them on a few platforms and have an evaluation of the KPIs of this neural network on that specific platform. So everything is based on Docker, and we usually use Ubuntu-based images. And we are able at the moment to deploy on x86 PCs and also on ARM platforms like Raspberry Pi, NVIDIA Jetson Nano, Xavier, and also NXP IMX8. We also have support for CUDA. And here you can see the dependency profiles. So basically it means that based on the profile of the user, we have different dependencies. If you're a user, you just want to run through the workflow and have some results at the end, maybe you just don't need to train the model. But however, if you're a developer and you want to create your own training model, then you will have some support or also some tools like TensorRT, TensorFlow, or PyTorch. And basically, this is the workflow that we have for an AI asset. So based on an AI challenge that has been provided and a data set, we can train this model and have it as a container, as a result, a trained model. At this point, we already want to check the performance so that we are sure that the accuracy of this model is correct and we don't want to propagate errors throughout the workflow. So that's why we would like to test at every stage that the KPIs, the correctness of the results, and also the latency, so that we have some information about that and we can decide what to do. So once we evaluate the model, we can export it or we can quantize it, and then again we evaluate it. If we think that the specifications are not correct, then we can go back and train it again. So basically, these two blocks usually run on the host PC, and then the green one, the last one, would be mostly the last part where we want to take into account the embedded device where we're going to deploy. So here we want to optimize for a specific hardware and deploy on that hardware. So basically, this part here could be an AI application. So this whole workflow is an AI asset, and the last part is the result that is an AI application that is optimized code for that specific embedded device. And this is what the AI talent in the open call will do. Basically, this is the workflow that they need to develop for new applications. So now I would like to talk a little bit about this part here, the green block, and about our deep learning inference engine. So we had this question a few years ago. It's like, how can we obtain an optimized deployment solution for a given target platform? So the idea is, for example, that we have this face detection application, and we want to deploy on several platforms because we want to support several platforms. We don't just want to have one single NVIDIA platform and always deploy there. We would like to have different options, so we see different trade-offs in terms of the metrics and also the budget that we have, the power consumption, etc. So this is our idea. And we see that we can use different engines to execute that neural network, the native engine that we provide, but maybe also other external engines. So this here, this framework here is what we call LPDNN. And LPDNN is an inference engine optimizer that accelerates the deployment of neural networks on embedded devices. So you see here on the top the AI application, which is the object detection, image classification, keyword spotting, that needs to run in these devices down here. It could be CPU, DSP, VPU, GPU, etc. So to be able to deploy these AI applications on these devices, we need two different blocks. We need this one here, which is the operating system and drivers, to be able to flash these embedded devices with the right environment, and also the cross-compile our AI application for that embedded devices. And the other one here is the deep learning software components. So basically, this is the engine that is going to execute the application on the device. And here we integrate third-party libraries at two different granularities. So fine-grained would be like integrating deep learning components into our own inference engine, and we control everything. Or as a coarse-grained, that would be integrating external engines, for example, the NVIDIA's one, TensorRT, into our framework. So that allows us to have a more optimized solution for certain specific platforms, but also to have like general or optimized code for any of those based on our own inference engine. So this is usually the workflow that we follow for the deployment of neural networks. We have an input file that is gonna be provided in Caffe or Next format, and we are going to create a graph that we are going to optimize and generate code that we are going to use to deploy on the embedded device and do the inference. So the inference is the actual execution of the neural network. And we can have inference on these many platforms. So as you can see, it's really straightforward workflow. However, we see that at this point here in the optimization, we have many different levels. So this is the ways we can optimize a neural network across the software stack. So here we see the network design. We can change the way that these networks are made. For example, we can change the blocks of the convolutions, basically the topology of the network. We can also change the way the layers are represented. So that would be the network optimization. We can use some layers, use quantization, sparsity. We can also change the way the layers are implemented by changing the algorithm. Here we see several options. And finally, we can go down to the last part, which is the primitive design, where we can optimize the neural network by using vectorization, changing the layout, or writing assembly code. So basically, we don't know which one is the best one for a specific embedded device. So what we propose is to change this workflow and have this way back, this loop back, so we have hardware in the loop optimization. So we get the benchmark, and then based on an intelligence and an agent that basically is going to try different configurations, benchmark it, and go back till this agent finds an optimal solution for a specific platform. So basically, by following this design space exploration, we are able to optimize our code for specific platforms. Here is just a small comparison of the different engines on the ImageNet challenge. So you can see here AlexNet, GoogleNet, ResNet, those are neural networks for the ImageNet challenge. And basically in different colors, we can see the engines that we tested. So we take as the reference Cafe, which is an old one of the first ones that came out. And then we have other ones like OpenCV, RCL, MNN, CNN, etc. So we see that LPDNN, which is our own inference engine, we can see, sorry, the speed up over Cafe, so the higher the better. So we can see that LPDNN outperforms all other engines as it can adapt to the target platform thanks to the hardware in the loop optimization, and also because it integrates different libraries from many different vendors. So we can leverage all those libraries as we wish in the optimization of the hardware in the loop. And finally, I would like to talk about the developer platform. So if you remember this image here on the top right, we were speaking about two different components. I was speaking now about the engine, which is the one on the right. So, oh, sorry, this is a mirror. So I spoke about this one, which is the engine, and now I would like to talk about the support of the developer platforms. So basically, we have different developer platforms like this Raspberry Pi or the Jetson Nano, and the idea is that we don't spend much time setting them up and then finding all the issues of the configuration and then see why it doesn't work because our inference engine is not supported, etc., etc. So what we like to do is to have an easy setup, manage the software, cross-compile, and then execute the neural network on it. And to do so, what we provide is this developer platform environment, which is a digital package that contains the full software stack, for example, the images of the operating system, the drivers, the libraries, also dependencies, and a documentation to set up, control, and execute the applications on this device. So basically, we have a workflow defined, and we provide 4 different components that are based on Docker. So one is the support Docker container that is used to set up the target and flash the board. Also the builder Docker, which is used to cross-compile the application for a specific target hardware. The manager container that is going to control the hardware while we execute. We can also monitor the application running on the device. And finally, some metadata that can be used to list this platform in the marketplace. So that would be all from my side. Now I give the word to Isabella, that's going to talk a bit more about the open calls.
Yes, thank you, Miguel, for the presentation. I will take the screen now. Let me know when you can see the full picture. Okay, yes. Now, right? Perfect. Thank you. So yes, so as the continuation, well, as already mentioned, the Bonseyes Marketplace is the key element of the BonsAPPs project and the open call. So I believe now it will be much easier to understand the open call that I would like briefly to tell you about, because this is why we are also organizing these webinars. So in the nutshell, you have already seen the Bonseyes Marketplace resources and possibilities. So those will be used to train the AI models, right, and to bring the AI solutions that will develop the industry challenges. Okay, so this is another important element that I have on another slide, but basically you have seen also those challenges that are already published on the on the Bonseyes platform. So these are the ones that were predefined and that should be solved. So when you will be reading the documents, you will see the detailed description if in those documents of all the technical requirements and the goals. And then this is the biggest part, I would say, because these are the skills. Okay, so basically you will see that there's the specific complete of the skills from the AI talents are needed, so you are able to execute the tasks and bring the AI solution. Okay, so these are the 3 key elements. So starting from the AI talents, because this is actually the main question, who are we actually looking for? So the AI talents are the experts that will be asked to train and deploy AI models in the very simple word. Of course, this requires, in order to perform this work, you need the data scientist skills and AI development skills. Okay, so these are like the 2 key skills that you need to have. It can be, of course, one person that knows both, but you can also apply as the team. Okay, so you can apply as the one natural person. You can also apply as a team of the members, maximum 5, or you can actually apply also as the company. Okay, so if you're a startup, then probably you enter under the SME or mid-cap definition, which is limited mainly with the number of employees. Okay, so SMEs are companies with up to 250 employees and mid-caps up to 3,000. And there is also the turnover element that you can read in the documents in the details, but basically small and medium companies can also apply. And also we allow to apply the RTOs, so research and technology organizations. That is because, of course, many researchers and many talents and skills are there, and you can apply as a whole institution, okay, under your employment contract. So that is why the scope is quite broad. One thing to take into consideration is your legal status. So this is the one in the blue. And another one, I think, more scope related is your skills. And so this is in short. Then for who are AI talents, and I already mentioned the industrial challenges. So here we have them listed in the robotics, manufacturing, automotive, and health industries. And all of them, the goal is to develop the AI solution that will solve one of these industrial challenges. And the details on the technical requirements, evaluation procedures, and data sets are included in the Annex 2 of the guide for applicants. So we invite you to have a look on them and actually also try to define for which one your previous experience and your knowledge could bring most, right, to be able to develop this solution. And then what are the benefits? So yes, funding, I believe this is the main, one of the main aspects. So the funding is up to 70,000 euro, okay, per applicant. So if you apply as a natural person, it's for natural person. If it's a team, then you have to nominate the team leader and divide, of course, the amount between you. But this is the funding per one AI solution, or we call it use case. And you will enter those 30 AI talents that will be selected will enter to the support program that will last 5 months and will be divided into 2 stages. The first stage lasts 2 months and the second stage will be 3 months. Okay. And there is a cut in the middle as well. So like first 30 AI talents that will enter to the program will be then at the end will finish only 10. Okay. The most promising ones. But coming to the benefits, so yes, funding. From this funding, you have to remember that 10,000 euro has to be dedicated to the HPC cloud providers. So we are currently gathering and validating such providers that will participate in the program. So also we try to make it easier for the AI talents to use these services and also only validated and trusted services. Then, of course, you have the access and support to Bonseyes Marketplace. So that is why we call that you become the certified AI talent user, because you will be also supported by the Bonseyes team on how to use the platform. Okay, so this is one of the goals, and there will be support user framework to support the AI talents in using the features from the platform. And then also the 10 most promising AI talents will also receive in the stage 2 the business mentoring from ISDIM, which is the digital business school from Madrid, and they will engage the external business mentors and also will prepare the massive online courses. So this whole support will aims to help you to actually create the final outcome, which is the AI solution. And then at the end, how to apply. So this is the link, okay, so which we can, I believe, share in the chat, where you should apply. Okay, first of all, you should sign up to the Funding Box. Okay, so you have to open the account on the Funding Box platform, and then you'll be able to click Apply Now and start the online application. Okay, so this is the important thing. And then what is also important before you start filling out the application is to read the guide for applicants and also the document with the frequently asked questions, just to be 100% sure that you understand the scope, what are the requirements, and what are the rules for this open call, and also like how we will select. So the guide for applicants is like a must read, okay, before you apply. If you go to the read first section of this landing page, you will also see on top of the guide for applicants, you can also see the application form in PDF if you want to work offline or just to check what is the application form before registering. And you will also have the frequently asked questions where we update all the, where we update all the questions and answers from the webinars and that we receive from the applicants. And you'll be also able to see the sub-grant agreement draft for your reference to see what will be signed with the selected AI talents. Okay, so a lot of interesting documents there, okay, that you can review to get a better vision on what is required. And then if you still have questions, then if you go to Get Help, we have there the news about the events that we participate, about webinars, about Q&As, and you can also find there the direct link to our support email and also support community. Okay, so a lot of sources, but everything to make it easier and clear for you on how to apply. And the application form also, just to let you know, is quite simple, mainly focused on describing your profile and proving that your skills will allow to execute the work under the selected challenge. Okay, so probably I think maybe 2 hours you need to fill out the application maximum. And how we will select the winners? So the process is also described in the guide for applicants with the detailed description of each of the evaluation criteria. But in short, first, the proposal will pass for the eligibility check. So basically, we'll check things like if you are from European or associated countries, okay, if your proposal is in English, this kind of basic things that actually are done almost automatically. Then we'll have the experts evaluation, and this is the main part of the selection process, and that will last 3 weeks. And here we engage 2 external experts. So these are not BonsAPPs partners. These are the external experts in AI that will review your proposal and will score it from 0 to 5, and also will provide us the feedback in order to create the ranking that will help us to select the winners. Okay, so this will be our main criterion, and those experts will evaluate the excellence, impact, and implementation sections of the application form that you can see on the right, okay, in the red. And basically, as I mentioned, in excellence, you will have to describe a little bit more about your ambition, why you select this AI challenge, and what is your plan for executing the work towards it. Then the impact is more related to the commercialization or also your potential vision of how the AI solution can also what can bring to the market in general. And then implementation includes the short description of you or your team that you have to include, including your technical skills, your knowledge and previous experience. And with these 3 criteria, we'll be able to select the AI talents for each solution, for each challenge, sorry. And then the ranking will be reviewed on the consensus meeting. This is already where partners come in. Okay, so we check the ranking. There's a discussion in order to check if actually those highest scored proposals fulfill the scope of the project and the main goal. And then 30 selected AI talents will be invited to the legal check. And that is where we review the more legal things. So depends if you're a natural person or if you apply as the institution, okay, or company. But basically, we'll require some documents to review your institution status. If you're not a bankrupt, we'll also ask you for other fundings that you received, just to check if the funding will fund actually the new actions, not something that was already found. So you can see the full list of the documents that will be requested on that stage in the frequently asked questions document, okay, in case if you are curious. And then after this administrative part of checking the documents, you will be ready to sign the sub-grant agreement with the BonsAPPs consortium. And the draft is already available also on our open call website for your reference. Okay, so that's the process. And after this process, you will be ready to start the support program that is planned to start from January and will last 5 months. Okay, so that is the timeline for this. But now the main deadline is, of course, the deadline for the open call. So please remember to submit your application by 2nd of November through this link. And in case if you have questions, you can write us to BonsAPPs help desk, okay? Or you can ask them now during the Q&A session. Let me see first if we have some questions from the speaker, from the guests. I see none. So I guess that means that everything was so
There are some, Isabella, they are in the question box.
In question box. Okay.
Yeah, they're not in the chat, but in the question box.
Okay. Thank you. Just a second. Okay, or Marta, could you please, because I cannot find them or I cannot see them, if you could.
Yeah, if you want, I can read them out loud.
Thank you, yeah.
Yeah, so first of all, a question to the first speaker. Who do you envision doing this hardware optimization? Would it be the end user, or the end user just provides the ONNX file and the optimization is automatic?
So the idea is that if they come as an user, then the optimization would be done automatically by us. So they provide a model, and then we can optimize it to deploy it on a platform. If they are developers, then they can also tweak their own model and provide optimization they want to do. So we have these 2 different workflows.
Okay, we have another one. Does livestock monitoring fall into manufacturing? For example, computer vision for detecting sick animals or animal behavior?
Difficult to say. So at the moment, the ones we have we have robotics, where it's more visual or computer vision, and there we can detect several things. Like, for example, if there is a robot that goes outside, detect different environments in the wild. If it is about manufacturing, at the moment, it's more like internal manufacturing in warehouses and things like this. So it's mostly based on signal processing, not much computer vision. At the moment, the challenges that we have will be open in a few weeks. We don't have any challenge like this, but as specified like this, user wants to know. But if he would like to publish an AI challenge, he could go and publish it, and then if someone is interested, maybe he finds the solution.
There's also another question, Miguel, from the same person that goes, what about monitoring the AI models that has been deployed? ML ops, in other words.
Yes,
ML
so
ops.
we have different metrics for monitoring the applications. We want to have metrics like static ones, like flops or number of operations. Then we will also have more dynamic metrics like latency, peak memory consumption, and then also others like the percentage of the load of the CPU, GPU, or the NPU. So basically, we have quite a variety of metrics that we collect while running the applications.
Okay, another one goes, can we use BMPs beta at the application stage?
At the moment, not. So at the moment, we do have some applications with LPDNN, but it's not yet connected to the Bonseyes Marketplace. So the first release will go about the AI challenges and AI assets. In the next year, we will provide also the link to the AI applications to run this. But if they are interested, they can also write to us, and we can see the way to connect or to provide the services directly.
Okay, another attendee says, hi, out of curiosity, the LPDNN agent is based on reinforcement learning?
Yes, there are different, we have different searches. We do have a reinforcement learning, but we also have other like Dijkstra or A-star, and we have a few of them. And we use the one that is more suitable for a specific problem.
Okay, this might be more addressed to Isabella. Thanks for the information. Is it possible for different groups for the same research organizations to apply for a challenge?
Mm-hmm. So the answer is yes, but there are two constraints with the multiple application. Okay, so the one is that one institution, well, so first of all, as the one entity, you can apply to different AI challenges, okay? But you have to make sure that you do not apply to the same one, okay? So if there are different researchers, each of them has to apply to different solution, okay, to a different challenge, sorry. So this is one constraint with the multiple submission. And another constraint is that we are able to found, like one entity can be founded only once. Okay, so even if 10 researchers from one research organization submit 10 proposals for different AI challenge each, so only one can be with the highest score will be funded. Okay, so we have a limit with the funding. The idea of the European Commission is to divide the funds to as many stakeholders as possible. So that is why, yes, you can apply, but please remember that at the final stage, only one will be founded and selected. And
okay, we have another one related to open call logistics, let's say. Do we have requirements on the role of the applicant? Say, can undergraduate and master students apply?
Well, here the requirements, if those, well, the students or master, yes. I mean, from the legal point of view, they can apply as natural person, so this is okay. But they have to be sure that they have skills to execute to train the model, the AI models. So to do what is planned during the 5 months. So this is one thing is the skills to review if you are sure that you're able to perform the work. And another one is the legal status, but natural persons are allowed, so you can apply as a student. Yeah. I hope that clarified.
Okay, the next question I think can be addressed to both of you guys. I have a question. I have an idea about signal processing AI to evaluate production of bearing. What about this idea? Maybe Miguel?
Yes, so I think it's wonderful that people come up with ideas. So why not, I would say. It's a wonderful idea that can be published into the marketplace as an AI challenge. And then the same person can try to solve it in there, or someone else with the capabilities can try as well. So, I mean, I think that there will be many applications that could use artificial intelligence, and others not, but we can always try and see if it makes sense. I think it's a good proposal.
That's great. And I have a final one. It's related to one of the previous ones that we got. Could livestock monitoring be considered for the open call application?
No, the challenges for the open call are already fixed. However, in the second open calls, I think, Isabella, are they allowed to publish their own?
Yes. In this open call, the challenges are predefined, so you can apply only to those. But in the second open call that will be launched at the end of next year, we'll be looking for the companies that will actually publish the challenges. So that is when the scope will be a bit more open. Yes.
And we do not have more questions so far. I don't know if someone else wants to add their questions, doubts, insights, whatever else. I don't see any.
Well, in that case, thank you, Marta, for managing the Q&A session.
You're welcome.
For the questions, we will for sure make also the note from these questions. Okay, so we always publish, probably next week we'll publish the written version of this Q&A session.
I have a final question for you.
For me,
yeah,
okay.
that's one. Another question for Isabella. Can I use money for collect more data?
For collect, well, we call it eligibility of the costs. Okay, so of course there are some constraints, but in general, as long as the purchases or the costs are related with the execution of the action, so that means the project or developing the AI solution, then the cost is eligible. Okay, so in the very European founding rules, I explained that, but so the answer is yes. If it is related with the development or what is planned or what was accepted in the proposal, then yes. So that is possible.
And we have another one right now. Independently of the open call, do you work with companies?
Yes, yes. I mean, I believe we're here two partners, Funding Box and Bonseyes Association. So yeah, we all work with the companies. I can say from Funding Box first that yeah, we have a lot of funding opportunities. Like we participate in the project like BonsAPPs. Okay, so the open calls and the European funding for AI and also for another solutions in the industries related to digital innovation hubs, to robotics are available on our website. So of course we invite you to have a look on further options. And also that is a plus that once you register to the Funding Box, even just as I mentioned, you have to do that to see the application draft or to open the application. You will also enter to all the community with more than 4,000 companies that actually were founded or are looking for founded or are looking for to connect. So yes, we work a lot with the companies. Yes. And Miguel, I'm not sure if you want to mention from your side how you work with the companies or.
Yes, I just want to say that is one of the keys that we try to achieve, and it's like collaborate with different companies. So we bring the research into the companies. So we do want to collaborate, and it's one of our goals. And we do have some collaborations with many of them companies.
Okay, we don't have any other questions that I see.
Okay.
Here?
Thank you. So yeah, we finished on the exact time. Just in the last minute, I will just share, well, comment on the slide that you can post your questions in our help desk, send us the message. You can also check the frequently asked question document that, for instance, was already updated with the questions from our previous webinar. Now we'll add also those that you asked us today. And in case when you read all the documents and review, you still have questions, we'll have one more webinar that will be really concentrated on, we'll review all the questions we received and we'll try to focus that on the main doubts, okay, and maybe some tips. So we also invite you to register and don't forget to apply until 2nd of November. So thank you very much to everyone for your attention and questions, and enjoy your weekend. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.